Hello and welcome to the Gooner Talk. Back again with you guys for another episode of what is the Arsenal News Show. Joining you every morning at 8 a.m. UK time. Hope you're doing good. Hope you're doing well. Thank you as always for making this a part of your morning routines. It is very much appreciated. I hope you had a fantastic finish to your week and that your weekend is already well underway. It certainly is for me. Very relaxed, very chill. I needed yesterday. I did quite literally nothing. And sometimes you just need a day of nothingness to recharge, refresh, and feel like you're ready for a brand new weekend of football, especially when it is as big as the weekend that Arsenal have got ahead of them, which of course is against Manchester City on Sunday. We're going to be talking about Mikel Arteta's pre-match press conference, all the latest news going into that game as well, and taking your questions in part two as always. As it is a weekend, I'd like to say a massive extra thank you to everybody that tunes in live. I know it means a little bit extra effort, and it certainly is appreciated on an early Saturday morning. Sabre, good morning to you, to Matt G, to Black Shine, to Pika Who, good morning to Runs with Cows, good morning to Red Star, to Matt, to Maximius, good morning to we've got Shari, we've got Martin, Damien, other Martin, we've got Brian, Glenn, Rob, Stevie, Stephen, Mubarak, Friendship Family, Temi, and plenty more of you guys as well joining us in the chat. Thank you so much, everybody that is doing so. It means the world. Do drop a like. Just takes you one quick second to click that thumbs up button, and it really does help us out. So thank you very much indeed. Right, let's get on with today's stories. We start with some, I suppose, mixed news. After the disappointment of the game against Liverpool in the WSL opener, Arsenal travelled to another difficult team in Manchester United on Friday evening and were winning and sadly then losing. And we took that lead and then went 2-1 down. And it looked like it was, really just not going to be Arsenal's day. Alessia Russo hit the post right before. I think it was Mallard that scored for Manchester United in around the 81st minute. And it seemed to be that they were moving towards 3 points in Manchester. However, off the bench, summer signing Chloe Lacasse with an unbelievable effort. I would absolutely recommend you go and checking this one out if you've not already seen it. But it is quite a brilliant 93rd minute equaliser to steal a point away from Manchester United, which is, no mean feat in this version of the WSL. So in the end, I think maybe Jonas Ardevel will be happy with the result. It's not a win. It's not 3 points yet in the league, but it is a really big point indeed. And what a goal to equalise things late on as well. Moving forwards, and Ben Knapper, who is the Arsenal loan manager, has left the club and he's joined Norwich City, become their sporting director. Ben was a big part of Mikel Arteta and Edu's team off the pitch to secure loans, to oversee loans of players and to discuss with both the senior and the youth sides about potential loan moves for how they might develop and what the best places for players to go to was. We had some great success with players leaving on loan. We think about Balogun's loan to Monaco, which then got Arsenal a hell of a lot of money in the summer. We think about William Saliba going on loan to Marseille and then obviously coming back and becoming one of the best young defenders in the world. We've seen some fantastic opportunities for players. Sometimes it's worked. Sometimes it happens. It doesn't. I mean, you're never going to get 100% success rate as a loan manager at a club like Arsenal. It's just simply not going to happen. But Arsenal will now, it seems, be on the lookout for a replacement for Ben, who we wish the absolute best of luck because he did a really good job at Arsenal. And hopefully Arsenal can take things to a whole new level with a brand new appointment very, very soon indeed. And Mikel Arteta took part in his press conference ahead of the game against Man City. He was asked, obviously, about a number of topics, such as player fitness, and we'll come on to specifically Bukayo Saka very shortly. But he was asked about Thomas Partey, and he said, well, he's ahead of schedule, that's for sure, and we wanted to have him in the squad if we needed to. The way the game panned out, we had other necessities, and we didn't use him. He will be in the squad tomorrow, on Sunday. But that's really, really positive news regarding Thomas Partey. He was talked about it being our best unbeaten start for the last 16 years. He says, well, consistency, that's for sure. And what we are looking for in this league, you have to beat your very best every single match. And we have managed to win a lot of games. Something that we have been better at is when you cannot win, don't lose it, except for midweek in the Champions League. And that's what it requires. Every 3 days, you have to be at your best. Asked about kind of the impact of Wolves' win over Man City, he says any team in the Premier League has the tools and the quality to beat you. And I think all the managers are aware of that and understanding that our record against Man City at home is very poor. We've not won in the league at home since 2015. He says we aren't looking back for sure because there were different players participating in those games. But we know one thing for certain, that we're going to have to be at our best. We have to be at our best in every department for the 100 minutes, and then we have a chance. So let's wait and see what happens in Sunday's game. I'm going to be there at the Emirates Stadium. I'm very much looking forward to it, and keeping fingers crossed that we've got the players back that we need. Speaking of which, Bukayo Saka has supposedly been past fit. Arteta said in that press conference that, well, he is in contention. We'll see how he progresses from here to Sunday. Obviously, he had to leave the pitch against Lens. That's never good news, but let's see how he recovers. And he wasn't willing to reveal the specificity of the injury itself. But Sami Mokbel, the Mail, reporting yesterday that Saka has, it seems, been past fit amid what is a compromise between Arsenal and the FA over his usage between England and Australia in that friendly on Friday. I can't help but see this as anything other than just an obvious kind of common sense. It's a friendly. He doesn't need to play in a friendly. Use players that you've not seen. Use Eddie Nketiah. Use Jarrod Bowen. Why does Saka, a player that you know what he's about, you know what you're going to get from him, why does he need to play in a friendly on Friday? He doesn't, is the answer. The Italy game, I understand, is an important fixture, sure. And so we're probably going to see him play in that game, but we don't need to see Bukayo Saka play against Australia. Now, moving into a couple of bits of transfer news. According to Italian outlet locally based in Florence, Firenze Viola, they've reported that Arsenal are scouting their 19-year-old right-back Kayode. He's on a very small wage at the moment, it seems, and that there are suggestions that Fiorentina will be looking to increase that wage to help stave off interest from other clubs. I can't say I know too much about the kid whatsoever. He is obviously a young 19-year-old right-back that is, I assume, playing for I don't know how many games he's even playing for Fiorentina. He's very much new on my list of players that I've had to come to try and learn a little bit more about. But Mikel Arteta, 19 years of age, Italian. He's currently got caps for the under-18s and the under-19s in Italy, and he's played 4 games so far this Serie A season with 1 assist so far as well. He didn't start 3 games. He started the first game against Genoa in a 4-1 win, but after that, 3 games on the bench, and then has come back in for games against Udinese, Frosinone, and Cagliari, of which in that latest game against Cagliari in a 3-0 win, he got an assist. I can't say I know what he's like stylistically because I've not watched him, but maybe some people who've watched plenty more of him in the Italian league can leave a comment down below in the comment section to give us a bit of an insight into the player. But I have said before that I do think that Arsenal need to go into the market and look at potentially a right back. Yes, I know that Timber will be coming back next year, but I'd like to see something a bit different at right back, someone who can overlap, someone who can offer something stylistically different to the full-back position. And Timber's ability to play in all 3 defensive positions at centre-half, right-back, left-back as an inverted player, I think means that there is still scope for Arsenal to go into the market and add a attacking full-back. Whether or not Kayode fits that bill, I don't know. But if he does, maybe that link, therefore, makes a bit of sense. And talking about Pedro Neto, there are suggestions that it could take as much as £60 million to sign the player from Wolves in January. A lot of money. I always said it was going to cost a significant amount of money for Arsenal to sign really anybody of Premier League standards, especially in a January transfer window. If you ask me the question, would I rather spend 60 million on Neto or Tony? I think you probably know my answer already, and it's certainly the former. I think that the need to bring in a left-footed wide player to bring competition to Bukayo Saka is a lot more significant than needing to sign somebody like Ivan Toney, who, to be honest, I only see as a backup to Gabriel Jesus. And I think that people talk about the amount of money that you play for kind of backups, or you think about how much Liverpool signed Jota for. I think it was well upwards of £40 million, and that was a few years ago. £45 million was the total fee for Diogo Jota, and that was back in 2020. So you're looking at 3 summers ago. It'll be 4 summers ago come next year, of course. So 3.5 years in January since a £41 million deal to take Jota to Liverpool. I think that it makes sense that, the figures are reaching upwards of 50 to closer to 60 million pounds. Whether or not he actually cost that much, of course, is a different matter. Maybe Arsenal will negotiate a price tag down if they indeed do aim to go for the player. But if you want a player that's going to be able to compete with the likes of Saka, you're going to have to pay big, big money to try and get it. You aren't going to have to try and pay big, big money, however, to get your hands on a very, very good VPN service. And with our exclusive deal with NordVPN, you can get yourself even more money off paying and investing in what is certainly a service that you need to be adding to your repertoire of tools for your digital devices in 2023. NordVPN provides you with that safety and security that you need online so that you've got cover if you're starting right back isn't available to protect you from those pesky viruses. You've got that significant cover and backup in NordVPN, and I recommend that you use the service. And just by going to nordvpn.com/Gooner, you can get yourself a significant discount off a 2-year plan and get some extra months as well. Who can say any fairer than that? Well, I can say fairer than that, because if you don't like the service, you can pretend it never happened, because there's a 30-day money-back guarantee as well. Change your geolocation on your laptop, your tablet, or your phone. Change yourself wherever you happen to be in the world, so you can go back. Say if you're from the States and you're based in the UK and you want to watch all the games because you've got a subscription over there in America, or you can hop back to America and watch the games because they wouldn't be available really in the UK. Likewise, if you're based in the UK and you want to watch Match of the Day and you're elsewhere in the world and iPlayer's not working, use a VPN, hop back to the UK and watch Match of the Day. Simple as that. Right, let's go to part 2 and your questions right after this. Right then, let's jump into the chat box and let's see if we can tackle some of your questions. Derek says, would you rather spend 60 million on Neto or 80 to 90 million on Dusan Vlahovic? I would, I think, need to wait until the summer to make a decision on that one, Derek, because Vlahovic has had a bit of an up and down time at Juventus this season. Things have improved. He has 4 goals and assists in 6 games, which is a good start to the Serie A season. But last season wasn't amazing. He got less league goals than Gabriel Jesus did last season, and he's had injuries as well. He's currently out injured with a back problem for Juve right now. So I think I'd have to wait until the summer to answer that question, Derek, to know what would be right. But it might be that Neto has already been signed by that point. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. Big Who says, Tom, why do you personally think Ben White isn't being picked for the England call-ups? Also, I hope you feel much better. Personally, I honestly don't know the real answer. It just seems baffling that it would be because of footballing reasons. So it must be something that's not footballing reasons. Sometimes a coaching group just don't fancy it. And maybe Ben White will have to wait until a different coaching group come into the national setup before he can get another chance. But it just seems very, very odd indeed. Matt says, if you could play a round of golf with any of the current Arsenal squad, who would you pick and why? Aaron Ramsdale, without a shadow of a doubt. He'd be an absolute laugh on the golf course, and I'm sure he would absolutely smash me, to be honest. Yeah, absolutely would be Aaron Ramsdale, closely followed by, I think, probably Declan Rice. It has to be Aaron Ramsdale for sure. Zungtar says, have you heard that West Ham are front runners for Smith Rowe? I've not. I've seen reports, but I've not personally heard that they're front runners. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the summer with Smith Rowe. I'm very interested to see if indeed we have interest of an amount of money that would tempt Arsenal into selling Smith Rowe. I guess the next summer transfer window is going to be very interesting indeed for the player. More Than a Wheelchair says, Tom, would you have a Q&A call show sometimes where we can talk face to face? I mean, I did one like 3 days ago. They come around once every fortnight or once a month. So keep your eyes peeled. I usually tweet them out from the Twitter account at the Gooner Talk TV. Drop us a DM and we can always sort out more phone-in shows because they are enjoyable. Maybe we'll do one in the wake of the City game during the international break. Benji says, who do you realistically see scoring against City? Saka seems to get locked down, so I'm struggling to see where our goals will come from. Odegaard, Jesus, Trossard. Who knows? Maybe Kai Havertz can even pop up with a goal. Maybe one from a set piece. Saliba and Gabriel, very dangerous from those set pieces if we can get them up into the box. So I can see goals being scored, Benji. And we've got plenty of players on the pitch that can score goals. Josh says, hello, Tom. I hope you're well. And is there any news with our links to Feyenoord striker Santiago Jimenez? I would rather have him in the squad than Tony. I think he's the type of profile of player that I'd rather see Arsenal move for, somebody that's younger, somebody that's got all the potential in the world to develop into maybe a player that's way better than Tony is right now. Jimenez is one of the names that is kind of doing the rounds right now. Fantastically kind of young, exciting, dynamic striker for Feyenoord. Have I heard anything about it? Not really. It's not really progressed beyond Arsenal being named as a club are watching him. And I imagine that that's probably not going to change for a little bit. I imagine that Arsenal, along with a lot of other top teams, are just kind of, I suppose, just monitoring the player and seeing what happens. Lucas says, Tom, have you ever considered doing a live watch-along? Yes, I have. But, I mean, I can't do them because I work the games. So I'm never free to do a watch-along. Secondly, I've always been very kind of against the idea of doing a watch-along on the channel because I used to do them with Hugh quite a lot before I started this job. I used to do watch-alongs with Hugh Wizzy, and I enjoyed them a lot, but I always found myself being too emotive and also kind of like, I feel like the games are in some ways something of a bit of a ritual that you have with yourself and, you know, how you appreciate games individually. Is it worth sharing that? I don't know. So I've always been a bit up and down about watch-alongs. People always ask me, why did I stop the watch-alongs with Hugh? It's a simple reason for that, is I started my new job. So I was obviously always working during match days, so it never became possible to carry on the watch-alongs with Hugh, who continues to do fantastic work on his own channel. So yeah, there was never any drama or anything. Even though people used to tweet me and say, why aren't you doing it, Hugh? What happened? Nothing. I started a new job. Simple as that one, really. Alex says, how disappointed will you be when Eddie starts at striker with Jesus at left wing? A little bit disappointed, Alex, to be honest. I will be a little bit disappointed. I think that we can be a bit braver. I guess it depends on who's available in the midfield. Is Partey available and ready to start? I guess that affects things. But yeah, I will be a little bit disappointed, to be honest. And he says, I'll be gutted if we sell Smith-Rowe. I think the majority of the fan base would be gutted if we sell Smith-Rowe. But the fact of the matter is that, is it more useful for Arsenal to have a player that Arteta is more likely to use, than a player that's not necessarily being trusted yet by the manager? And I think maybe it's better to have a player that he trusts more and that will use more and that is more what he wants in an attacking midfielder or an attacking player than somebody that's not. And it sucks that we might have to lose Smith-Rowe, but that is sometimes what happens. You think about Chelsea losing Mason Mount. You never thought Chelsea would lose Mason Mount, but they have. It's not necessarily done them all that bad. I mean, yes, they're bad already, but he's not gone to Man United and pulled up trees. So, I think there's always question marks about things like that. Daniel says, are you captaining Haaland in your FPL? I don't think so, but I think I am running out of time to make that decision. I don't think I'm going to captain Haaland. No, I haven't. I haven't captained Haaland. I just checked my team there. So, no, he is not captain this week. So, there you go. There's a little bit of a hint, Dan, for you if you're trying to... I don't even know where I am in that. Let's have a quick look. I'm going to regret this. If you would like to join our fantasy league, there is a code. Where is the code? The fantasy code is on your screen now, CFJ092. That is our fantasy code. That is for our big TGT league. We have two leagues. We have the big one and then we have the members one. In the members one, I'm currently 17th. That's not too bad considering we've got 81 players in there. Where's Dan? Let's have a quick look. Scrolling. Well, I've scrolled up and I can't see him, which means... Oh, no, he's 16th. He's 1 point ahead of me. Goodness me. That's ridiculous. Dan, you're getting very lucky. Clearly, very lucky. And I caught up last week. I got 71 points last week, which is the 4th highest amongst the top players in that league. Someone got 87 last week. That's impressive. Who did they have? They had Watkins. They must have done. Oh, they didn't even have Watkins. Very impressive. Very, very impressive. And in terms of the big TGT league, I'm currently 330th. But in our big TGT league, I'll be able to tell you in a second when I've scrolled down to the number of players that are in this TGT league, because we have a lot. So CFJ092 is the code that you need to join the fantasy league. There's over 1,000 people now in this league. We have so many people in here, but it's brilliant to see a community that's grown to the level that it is. But 1,438 people are in the league, which is absolutely fantastic. Currently, my total points tally, someone was asking for that. My current points tally is 426. So that's how many points I'm on at the moment. Could be doing better, could be doing a lot worse. So there you go. Jalali says, Tom, I can't enter the members FPL. I'll put a new link to, someone will do that. Usually King's very on it in terms of the fantasy league for the members. So I'm sure they'll put it in the Discord server a little bit later on today if someone hasn't done so already. Andrew says, is there any news on Martinelli? Seems strange that there is total silence regarding his progress. Makes me feel like he'll be out for a very long time. Well, he wasn't called up for the Brazilian national side, which tells you a bit of a hint as to how long he might be out for. I would be very surprised if he's in the group tomorrow for the City game. Hopefully, he returns very soon. Hamstring injuries are very, very difficult to get exact timelines on, and so that's a bit of a problem. Wilson says, why on earth are you not a big fan of Ivan Toney? The guy is a Premier League proven goal scorer, provides physical presence and offers something different to our front line. I feel like I'm going over old ground here. It's very simple for me, is that he's not a good enough striker for me to commit 60 to 80 million pounds on. 14 goals from out open play last season is not enough for me to say, yes, that's the striker that I want to be our marquee addition. It's just not enough for me. If he joins, great. If he joins, great. I'll back him, and I hope that he succeeds. I never want a player at Arsenal to fail just because I didn't think they were the right choice. I want players to prove me wrong. But for me, he's not the right player. Shlamed Jose says, good night to everyone. Hope for a win on Sunday. Thank you for the kind donation, mate. And enjoy it the rest of your evening. Masibulele says, hey, Tom, why do you think Arteta didn't go for a like-for-like replacement in Xhaka instead of trying something new? Because our dynamics haven't changed, just not enough control. I guess because he wanted to try and take things to another level in the midfield, and who knows, he might still be able to do that. But it's difficult with a player that is a project, and it was always going to be a massive, massive risk. Manoj says, is Joe Willock still at Newcastle? I haven't heard about him in a while. He's injured, I think, and has been injured for a little while, so that's why you've not heard much about him. Paul says, Smith always gives us a spark when he's playing, as he plays between the lines. He gets shots on target and either scores or works the goalkeeper. Who else amongst our attackers offers more? Well, Martinelli, Saka, Odegaard, Jesus. There's quite a few, Paul, that do offer more than Smith Rowe, because consistency, you say that he always does those things. The honest answer is that he doesn't always do those things. He can be dynamic, but he can come on in games and not offer anything. He can, be absent in certain fixtures, and he just needs consistency and confidence. But, stylistically, positionally, he doesn't necessarily fit what Arteta wants from players in this system. He doesn't fit as a left player for us. He doesn't fit as an attacking midfielder for us. It's very difficult. More than a wheelchair says, Tom, who would you like to see us if not Toney? I also don't want him. I do like Ollie Watkins there. Well, he's just signed a new deal, so I don't think Watkins will be signing for Arsenal. What I would say is that Watkins kind of falls in a very similar bracket to Toney for me. I think they're quite similar in terms of the level that they're at and their age profiles as well. For me, I've said in answer to this question before, ask me in the summer. I think there will be different options available then. But you look at Højlund at Manchester United and you see that he's gradually improving. You see he could turn into something quite special that's even better than somebody like Toney. So I think that's the right profile to go for, is a young player with lots of potential that has a higher ceiling than the players that we currently have. Benjamin Sesko is the one I've got my eye on, and I've said that for quite some time. But Santiago Jimenez at final is another one that is being talked about quite a lot. And I think that if Arsenal can find a centre-forward that has a ceiling that's above what we've already got, go for it. But for me, I wouldn't start Toney over Jesus. So it's difficult for me to jump on the idea of spending 60 to 80 odd million pounds on him. Pika, who says, Tom, in regards to the VAR referee being banned, apparently that's not the case. So there were suggestions that Darren England would not be, I think it was Sam Wallace of The Telegraph reported that he wouldn't be refereeing games for the rest of the season for Liverpool. There were reports that came out subsequently denying that was true. So if that is, unless that's gone another 180, apparently that's not the case, and that decision has not been made. So certainly worth doing some extra digging on that. But apparently Darren England has not been taking off of all Liverpool games yet. So let's wait and see. Ben says the Smith Rowe thing is so annoying to me. It's like if he was more brave for longer periods, he would definitely bag because he's always getting into good positions, but then he doesn't track back as much. And it is that kind of wider concept of Smith Rowe. Does he have all of the necessary parts to make up the perfect player under Arteta? I don't think that he does. He doesn't have the defensive off the ball stuff that he needs, that Odegaard has, that Trossard has, that players like Gabriel Jesus has, like Kai Havertz ironically has, because he has the off the ball ability, but on the ball, Smith Rowe I'd rather play him than Kai Havertz right now. It's an interesting balance that we've got. There's hypocrisy there because how can you spend £65 million on Havertz when you've got a player in Smith Rowe that I think is better going forwards than Havertz right now, but not as good as Havertz when out of possession. So very, very difficult. Very, very difficult indeed. Rob Bob says, hat-trick hero for Havertz on Sunday, retires as an Arsenal legend. I tell you what, this is a game that Havertz can absolutely raise his profile in. We all know that. If Havertz can have a fantastic game on Sunday, if he does indeed play, it becomes very, very different for him all of a sudden. But I just want to see more. I really empathized with a lot of our callers that we had on the phone-in show on Wednesday, the feeling that they want to see more from Havertz. And I absolutely agree with that. I think that we need to see more. We need to see more, some more fights, some more bites, some more just application. And he's not showing that. He's too languid for me. And you get into a very dangerous Ozil kind of territory of becoming disliked because of your demeanour. And I think that he needs to try and avoid that and really put in the effort on Sunday. Where Pika Who says, what's your predicted lineup? We did our desired lineups in the preview on Thursday. Predicted lineup, I'd go Raya, White, Saliba, Gabriel, Zinchenko, Rice, Havertz, Odegaard, Saka, Trossard, Jesus. That would be my predicted team. I just don't think Partey's fit enough yet. But I don't know. Arteta sees him every single day. Arteta will know if he's fit enough for the game or not. Let's wait and see. I think Havertz, he trusts him, and he wants him to succeed. Starting Havertz in this game and it backfiring, though, would be a horrific reality for Arteta and the player. Play Havertz and he has a bad game and it costs us. My goodness me, you've taken a big risk. I hope that Partey is fit enough to start, but my prediction is that he's not. But let's wait and see. Scroll up a little bit more. Vala says, would you sing the song if it means that we batter City tomorrow? Of course I would, but I don't know if it would do that. So I can't sing the song because I don't know if it's guaranteed. I told you when I'll sing the song properly. Tut says, should a right wing be our main focus in January? Starting to see a pattern that we saw with Wilshere. We're overplaying hindered players from their prime years with injury. Perhaps an older squad player to rotate. But we've kind of got that in Trossard. I want to see someone with speed. I want to see someone with real speed in the forward line brought in. That's why I like Neto, because he's got great speed. You can see why we wanted Mudryk. Like, for all his failings and for all of his lack of establishment in the Premier League, you can see why we wanted Mudryk. That pace, that penetration, it's really unrivaled, I think, in the Premier League. I don't think there's many players quicker than him, to be honest, that can start games. And I think that Arsenal wanted that pace, and when they couldn't get Mudryk, they went for a player that was very different. Trossard's not a really quick player. He's just not. He's more technical. He cuts inside sooner. He takes players on. He doesn't run in behind, really. He's different. And I think that we wanted somebody like that. And I think that's somebody that we need. So I hope that Neto is the type of player that we end up going for. For me, I really think centre midfield remains an area that I'd like to see Arsenal to strengthen in as well. I'd really like to see Arsenal to go for Youssouf Fofana from Monaco. I think he would be my dream centre midfield signing that's realistic. But let's wait and see. There's an argument that we still need to move players on. I think maybe Smith Rowe, maybe his position becomes untenable by January, and we see what happens there. But maybe a player will be moved on. I think we've got 24 players, do we, in the squad? Let's have a quick look of our 25-man squad, shall we? Teams, here we go. Ramsdale 1, Raya 2. I don't know if Hine counts. I don't think Hine counts. I think he doesn't have to count. Saliba 3, White 4, Gabriel 5, Timber 6, Kivior 7, Cedric 8, Tomiyasu 9, Zinchenko 10, Partey 11, Odegaard 12, Smith Rowe 13, Jorginho 14, Vieira 15, El Neni 16, Havertz 17, Rice 18, Saka 19, Jesus 20, Martinelli 21, Nketiah 22, Trossard 23, Nelson 24. So unless Hine counts as the 25th player, that's a 24. So I think there is space for January. Yeah, let's wait and see. Vala says, I had Tom's voice stuck in my head yesterday saying, let's go, let's go through the day. Let's go to, okay, because I'm saying let's go to the next question. Yeah, it does get stuck, I'm sure. It's just a very, very, I don't know how else to say it. Next question is, let's just next, let's go to. Benji says, I would hate to somehow win this game, then lose the next game. We need to keep in mind that all games count for 3 points. We do, but obviously this game allows you to take 3 points or prevent 3 points from going to City, which is obviously very, very important. If you win this game and lose the next game, you know, yes, you would technically have cost points of City, but it's important, I think, to win this game for the impact it might have on Man City. Isoa says, is the Havertz song oxymoronic? Of course, he's not in good form, but he scores again. He has scored a couple of goals for Arsenal in pre-season, so the whole who's not scored isn't true because he has scored before that goal against Bournemouth. So it's oxymoronic in the... I think it's more ironic than oxymoronic. It's more ironic, but no. Oxymoronic would be more, he scores again, but he hasn't scored before this goal, but he has scored. So, yeah, it doesn't really work in that way. So I think it's more ironic than oxymoronic. Simoden says, Tom, how about starting Jorginho and Declan Rice? Definitely an option. Definitely an option for us to start Rice and Jorginho if Partey's not fully fit. And I may even favour that, you know, over starting Havertz. So, yeah, it's definitely an option for us, Simoden, and think it's worth bringing up without a doubt. Aditya says, Tom, ideally, what gets the best result that we can expect out of this game? A win, mate. I think this is the best opportunity that we've got of winning against City for quite some time, and we should be going into this game with the attitude that we should be trying to win it. So without a doubt, winning is the best result that we can expect out of this game because we have got a great chance at winning it. And Magambo says, you can't get a player at the same level as Saka who will be an understudy to Saka. Probably go for a younger player with potential. I disagree. I think that you can go for a player that's competitive to Saka if they are versatile enough to play in multiple positions. Liverpool would have turned around and said, you can't get a player to the same level of Mohamed Salah or Sadio Mane. But look at Luis Diaz, you know, and yes, eventually he ousted Mane from that team. And then they got Diogo Jota, and then they got Gakpo, even though Gakpo can play centre forward, remember, but was more so a left winger at PSV. So you can actually get players as good as the best starters in the world, but I think they need to have some versatility about them. And that's why I like Neto, because he is versatile enough. He can play on both flanks, even though he's left-footed. I think he's even played at centre forward at a younger age too. So there is scope to play these guys, and I disagree. You can bring in a player on a very, maybe not the same level as Saka, because that's very difficult, but a player very close to Saka's level, you absolutely can if you bring in somebody that is versatile enough to play in multiple positions. And we've got a lot of competitions to play. So yeah, they're asking for the code again. That's the code. CFJ092 is our fantasy code. So there you go, Josh. Join our league. Adam says, does down the drain mean something different from the UK to the US? If something goes down the drain, it means like it flitters away. It's lost to us. It's gone down the drain. Arsenal's title hopes have gone down the drain. That's what it means in the UK, Adam. So it's kind of like, yeah, hopes of something going down the drain. Rob Bob says, will Pep and Arteta try to outthink/tinker, out-tinker each other, or and play Ramsdale and Ederson as centre forwards? I don't know about kind of tactically how City are going to come to this game and try and approach it, because Arsenal are quite difficult to predict at the moment because of our team and the injuries and who does and doesn't start. It's very difficult. So yeah, let's see. But I think it's going to be a very tactical game. I think City will still try and go long at times. I think Arsenal have got the quality in midfield to win the midfield battle for the first time in quite a long time, especially if Partey's fit enough. If not, I still think Odegaard and Rice out are the better pairing of midfielders to what they've got available to them. They've still got some good players, but no Rodri is, and no De Bruyne. Yeah, it's massive losses in midfield for them. So Nicholas says, it might be a silly question, but could Saka play up top? I feel like he could. And if needed, him and Neto could rotate. I think Neto would be the more likely one to play up top, to be honest, than Saka. I think he's very reliant on being out in those wide areas, being able to cut inside and move beyond fullbacks and dart to the touchline before dinking a right-footed cross or smashing a right-footed shot towards goal. So I think it would be more likely Neto would go through the middle if they were going to play in the same team. So, yeah, there you go. Omar says 60 million down the drain. Kai Havertz scores again. I heard it somewhere recently. Did you? Well, is that oxymoronic, that the 60 million part? Is that the oxymoronic part? Maybe. But, yeah. Jürgen says, do you think that it will be a lot of goals tomorrow? ? I think it will go back and forth during the entire match. It's definitely got the potential for lots of goals. Both teams have their defensive question marks. Both teams are missing key players. And both teams have got the capacity to score plenty of goals. So, yeah, it could be a goal fest. Let's wait and see. Isoa says, I know the season is long, but should Arsenal fans be envious of Newcastle's result against PSG? Envious in the sense that they've been able to come up against one of the big sides in the competition and get a good result. Sure, there's always going to be envy there, but I'm very happy with Arsenal right now, where they are and what they're doing, the squad they've got, and us getting back into the Champions League and getting the result we did against PSV. So, yeah, very happy. We'll talk more about the Man City game tomorrow in the 8 a.m. show. But thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. It's very much appreciated. Do drop a like, subscribe, all of those YouTube-y things. And, yeah, I'll be back tomorrow morning for the last words ahead of the game against City before I head off to the Emirates Stadium. I'm going to be on BBC Radio 5 Live tomorrow morning as well, around 11:35. So if you're based in the UK and you listen to 5 Live and you're travelling around, chuck 5 Live on about 11:35 in the morning tomorrow. Any fans of McFly are going to have, I think they've got, hold on, let me get his name. I'm not a McFly fan, but the missus certainly is. She was very annoyed when I told her that was going to happen. Harry Judd is also going to be on, who's a big Arsenal fan as well. So there you go. But do listen in. Have a fantastic Saturday. Stay chill, stay relaxed. I suppose we should quickly just touch upon which games you can watch today. 12:30. Luton Spurs. Let's hope for a big Luton win in that one. Burnley Chelsea at 3. Everton Bournemouth at 3. Fulham Sheffield United at 3. Manchester United Brentford, a very interesting game. Can Man United finally turn their form around at 3? And then the 5:30 game is Palace against Nottingham Forest. So they're your Saturday games. Get your fantasy teams ready. You can join our league, of course, and I'm sure there'll be a code put in the Discord server very soon there as well. So, yeah, thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Very much appreciate your time. And I'll see you again very soon. Have a great day. Stay safe. Stay well. And as always, up the Arsenal.